practicing meditation. I loved it. I discovered meditation when I was walking through the jungle in Malaysia with this amazing guide who didn't even speak Bahasa Malaysian, which I was starting to study because I was living there at that stage in Kuala Lumpur. And I went on this 2-day hike where you have to sleep in the forest, and I was mad for God back then. I was like, mad for God now, more so, but I mean really wanted to prove that I could do something. And you know, we'd sleep in these little huts on the floor. There were like dangerous snakes and things everywhere, and I was like, I know I'm safe. And I'm 5 foot, right? Maybe I'm lying. Maybe I'm 4 foot 11 and a half. Haven't measured myself in years and I don't intend to. And he was up to here on me. This little guy, he was like 45 at least, and just amazing spirit. As we're walking along these little trails, if there was an anthill, he would go and and show me, walk around the anthill, not to destroy any of nature. I mean, just being with him. Back now, in recollection, when I was thinking back on it a few years ago, I thought, I think he was enlightened, because I felt something I'd never felt before, like vibrations starting to begin in my head, just being around this amazing Indian, a real Indian native from Sarawak, Malaysia, which is, the other part of, it's in the same landmass as Borneo. Anyway, pretty heavy stuff. So we get down to the bottom of this beautiful mountain, and he leaves me, and I'm just sitting on the beach, just stunned and grateful that I was still alive. And I was gazing at the ocean, and all of a sudden, I was the ocean. I was looking at myself and the beach. I could feel myself rolling in as a wave. That's why I love to say, as a wave is one with the ocean, I am one with God. I actually had that experience. So after that, I began to meditate, practice meditation every day, and I began to have the most amazing experiences. But I still hadn't found, I was killing it in my career. I was being of service, I was traveling all over the world, but I wanted someone. I was working with people that loved God, that were bright, beautiful diamonds, but they weren't enlightened. They didn't know God. And I wanted to find someone and study with someone who, whether it was called Enlightenment, self-realization, I'd read Yogananda's book so many times, and he'd left the body, and I was like, Yogananda, I'd even pray to Yogananda, show me someone who knows God, please. And so then I was in San Diego because I'd moved to America at that stage. I decided, I was just guided to, which was crazy at the time because I had to start from scratch. No one in America knew me back then. This is a long time ago. No one, except for Bob, and he's in Canada. But Bob did start introducing me to people, so I started doing some gigs with Mark Victor Hansen and Jack Canfield. Love Jack, he's an awesome guy. And quite a lot of other people were starting to ask me to come and do gigs with them. And so I was loving America. I started feeling like that was where I was supposed to live. And one day I had this flyer from a Whole Foods grocery store that there was this enlightened teacher, and I loved Babaji. I had read some stuff about Babaji, and that I'd always had this feeling that Jesus the Christ, who I'd always loved as a little girl, I went to church every day when I was a child. Crazy, my mother thought I was mad. Anyway, to mass every day. Anyway, so I lost all what I thought was my metaphysical spiritual stuff in puberty. Who doesn't? Hello? Anyone seen Puberty Blues? It's an Australian movie. I was one of them. Cronulla girl, Cronulla beach. So this is what happens. When you sincerely are doing whatever it takes, and it may not be meditation practice, to improve your mind, to improve your spirit, to be of service, to release suffering from your own life and those of those that you love, that you're working really hard on projects, writing books, doing things, always keeping your mind focused, never ever complaining, not judging. You are getting into a higher and higher frequency. So your doubting mind doesn't have an opportunity to say that is not the truth for you. You have limitations. You immediately will go, well, who are you, you silly knucklehead? There are no limitations in my life. I'm one with God. Run along now. So the Maya, that collective consciousness that had you before, living by your senses only, is released, and your diamond is shining. But there's still, for those who want to go further, like I wanted to go further. So I went to this thing in Seaside Church of Religious Science in Carlsbad or somewhere. And John and Dara was there, and I was looking at the cassettes after we'd seen this gentleman. And he said to me, oh, hi, I see you're looking at these CDs and stuff. He said, you look like a person who knows whether that man in there is enlightened or not. And I was like, what? What you talking about? And then we went and had a coffee. Well, I had tea. And he was telling me about his enlightened teacher, who was an actual Mahasiddha at the level of Yogananda and the level of, because there's enlightenment, then there's a Mahasiddha. They're very unusual. There's probably only 4 Mahasiddhas on the planet, or 3 at one time, is what Yogananda said. Anyway, and he had left the body. So we don't say die because you never die, but he'd left the body. He'd gone back to the ocean, to be part of the Godhead again. No more reincarnations for him. He'd done it time and time again. A true bodhisattva, coming back time and time again to release people from their suffering. And I said, I really feel that he is, but I don't feel I want to learn from him. I know when I meet my teacher who that will be. I will recognize them. So I still thought it was going to be an Asian man, bald, or it was going to be an Indian man with a long white beard, which this guy was actually. Because we're not just soul types. It's part of our background, our lineage, and we end up resonating and attracting. And when we're very sincere about that, you can feel it. So then after about a year, John called me and he said, look, one of my teacher, Rama's students, has become enlightened, I've been told. And she's going to be putting on, her name's Kundalini, she's going to be putting on this event. And he said, I knew her, she was one of the students. And he said, so I want you to come with me to this. And I said, are you kidding? Keep me away. Had to start at 6. I said, let's get there at 4 so we can sit right up front. So we got there at 4 p.m. at Balboa Park. We walked into this museum. There was just a couple of little lamps like this. Well, not exactly like this, but just a couple of lamps. She didn't have light shows or anything. Little stage. And I guess that first night there may have been maybe 90, 100 people. And this was her first public event as an enlightened teacher. She was teaching his students, but she decided to bring in her own students. So she started to do it in San Diego, do these public events. And I'm sitting up front there, and this beautiful small woman with long black hair, American or Canadian, one of the two, I'm not sure. Anyway, she sat down, she put this rock music on and just said, let's meditate. And my eyes started watering immediately. My head was buzzing. And when she started doing some mudras, she's just talking, but she's doing mudras while she's talking. I could see light coming out of her hands. And I'm looking around at everyone, and I'm wondering why they can't all see it. Now, the reason not everyone could see it is because we live in a very dense consciousness at the moment, and everyone's diamond is sort of stuck. There's shumnas up the back of their spine that needs to be cleared, hasn't been cleared. But mine had been, because I'd done all this work and traveled all over the world searching, and I already had my heart chakra was already partially activated, because I could feel, I used to say to people, can't you feel it? It's like my heart is out here. It's like, oh, I want everyone to feel that love. It's so intense. So I was already cleared a lot. And then I found out later that I had been with her. She had been Saint Teresa of Avila from Spain, and I was one of her head nuns. After my enlightenment, a lot of my past lives came back to me. And past lives is very, very fascinating, because with past lives, once your Kundalini is completely awakened, you recall your past lives not through memory, not through a vision or a dream, but you are actually there again. And then I would recall, wow, that's what Yogananda said. When he had a past life experience, he said, I was a soldier, I was in the water, I was drowning, and I really was. There was another place where a tiger was attacking me, and I really woke up as a kid thinking, oh, the tiger's attacking me. You are actually there. That is true past life experience. Until that time, you will absolutely have past life like deja vus where you're like, oh, I think I know that person. And just on that note, let me just go off this topic a little bit. For those of you who have met people and you know that you've known them before, that can be very, very tricky. Would you like to know why? No. Yes, Cindy, okay. Because we're all spiritual beings. We are one with this diamond. We have the capacity to fly, to go through that stargate, fly to the moon, do anything. Trust me, I've done it. My teacher has done it. People all over the world have done it. I don't mean just astral traveling, going into divine dimensions. This world is a dream. It is not real. There are no limitations for you if you make a decision that you want your life to be a blessing to this world so that God can use you. You don't want your light on and off, on and off, on and off. I feel good today, now I don't. You want it on all the time so that you can enjoy your life and feel the most intense bliss and joy and power coming through you and gratitude, so that you are at that point in time, every single person you look at, you know that they are the divine presence. You know it. It's a fact. They are the divine presence. When we know that we know somebody, because this world, it has been built up on romantic garbage. I'm in love with this person. Why don't they love me? Don't they know how much love I have to give? Oh my God, they're missing out. You know, all this rubbish goes on. Instead of just great, you resonate with this person, you think that person's great, you're on the same path. You don't even have to be on the same path. You respect each other, you laugh together. That's all you need. Anyway, or just a couple of cats like me. And the best friends in the world, all of you. Divine spirit. So, divine familiar. So you, of course, are psychic, everybody is, you recognize past life stuff, and so someone will think, oh, I'm really meant to be with them, particularly if you're sort of attracted to the way they look or something. And you may feel, the other person may feel it too, that you are supposed to be together because you recognize each other. But what you don't realize is they could have been the biggest bastard or bitch in the world. They could have been your older brother who knocked you around, or someone who raped you once. I'm serious. Because that person doesn't remember, they don't have negativity coming from them. Or you might have been their mother. It could have been a loving relationship, but not necessarily romantic or friends. So it's very, very tricky when you think, oh, I know that person from a past life. We must be meant to be friends or to work together. You have to really, really be discerning and mindful when those connections happen, because we attract, until we've learnt lessons with certain people that we've worked for, we make a pact. Okay, we're going to be reborn together again, and I'm going to learn my lesson from you. So we do. We all have to take responsibility. We can't blame anybody for any pain we've been through. No one causes us suffering and pain. We have decided to go through that to release ourselves from that person, place or thing or experience forevermore, and have that little bubble that just keeps getting stuck on that diamond. Oh, you're scrubbing it so clean. Oh, it's there again. Like a magnet. We want it burst. We want that line from that person burst forever. So you have to be very, very discerning with people that you meet when you're very spiritually inclined and you have a higher consciousness, which you all have. Otherwise, we wouldn't all be here together as one. So just watch that.